Good day, everybody. Guy Slocum here, leader of the Unity Party of New Zealand. And today I want to touch on a subject that comes up quite a lot when I'm out and about talking to you and others. And that is the issue of MMP. You can pretty well divide the groups into three. There are those that would retain it as it is at the moment. There were those that would reduce the 5% threshold to 3%, and there were those that would scrap it altogether and go for first past the post. Now, let me take the third group first. First past the post. Be very careful what you wish for, because despite your frustrations with MMP, just recall what happened when Ardern got a complete majority and was able to rule without concern for anybody else. And that is exactly the danger that we expose ourselves to if we go for first past the post. I think also one has to say that in the days when there were very clear distinctions between the two main parties, both in terms of policy and behaviour, first past the post may have had some attraction. But the way Luxon has dragged National so far to the left, we really can't say that there is a distinction between the two major parties. But my main point is that if we went for first past the post, whichever major party got the ability to rule without concern for others, we are going to see some draconian behaviour as we have done in the past. So I respect those of you who feel we should go in that direction, but just pause for a moment and be careful what you wish for. Then there are those who would reduce the threshold to 3%. Well, it won't surprise you to know that I'm very much in favour of that, because it would increase the chances of me and the Unity Party getting 6 members into the House. However, I'm not sure that's going to happen, and even if it does, it cannot be implemented until the end of the session or period in which the legislation is passed. Then let's look at leaving it where it is at the moment. Well, it has some flaws, and I respect those who talk against it. But it does allow minor parties to have an opportunity to hold the balance of power and hold some influence against the ruling party. And we saw that with Winston Peters and Ardern in Ardern's first period as Prime Minister. But it's more than just a question of MMP. It's a question of something that's also dear to my heart, and that is trying to return New Zealand a little closer to a democratic nation. Why do I say that in the context of NMP? Well, I think the vast majority of the MPs sitting in the House at the moment have long ago forgotten that it is their job to represent the interests, desires, and difficulties of the electorate who sent them to Wellington. They go down to Wellington probably with the best of intentions. They get sucked into the party whip, and they simply vote in line with the instructions of the party business managers without regard for the wishes of those that sent them there. But if we use MMP the way it was really intended to be used, we can return an element of democracy to the House of Representatives. Indeed, turn it back into truly a House of Representatives rather than career-minded people who do little more than be motivated by their own political ambitions or the instructions from their party business managers. What I mean is this. If you consider, as most of you know, that MMP gives you 2 votes, a candidate vote and a party vote. It is Unity Party policy that we ask you to vote for the candidate who you believe will best represent you in Wellington, irrespective of the party to which they belong. Now, why on earth do I say that when I'm a party animal? Very simply, because if you have regard for the people who are putting themselves up as candidates and you're looking for representation, then what better reason to vote for them than their desire to be truly representative of the electorate that is sending them down to Wellington. But then you put your party vote with the party that you want to see in strength in the House, either to govern or to influence the party that is governing. And that way you have the opportunity to decide who will govern or to decide who the parties are, the minor parties, who will be influencing the governing party. And that way, I believe we get a far better representation of democracy than we're doing at the moment. Because when I go out and about, people tell me that really all they do is place their party vote with the party of the candidate they voted for. I hope, therefore, that this slightly revolutionary approach to the use of MMP will not only return New Zealand to a greater level of democracy, but I hope it will also find favour with you, the people who are listening to this video. But that is my view, and our job in Unity Party is to represent the people who belong to our party. And therefore, if you don't agree with what I'm saying, or indeed you have any views on the points I have just put forward, please put them into the comments below the video, and we will make sure that we distill those comments into our policy so that we, in acting in the best interests of democracy, will be doing what you, the people, want. In the meantime, thank you for listening. See you all again soon, and bye-bye for now.